What is going on, Westworlders? It's Sean O'Connell, the managing director here at CinemaBlend, and we are up to episode 2 of season 3. It's called The Winter Line, and I am ready to go to Warworld. Another section of the park. We're going to be able to catch up with Maeve, maybe see some Nazis. Looks like we're going to see a World War II recreation in another section of the Westworld Park, or the Delos Park in general, I suppose. And there was an indication that we might actually see yet another new park in play here, so I'm excited to dive right into the next episode. Do me a favor, go down, hit subscribe, turn on your notifications, follow along with me, Sean O'Connell, the managing director here at CinemaBlend, as I continue to react to the entire third season of Westworld to see where this crazy show is going to take us. Go down in the comments, let me know what you think about the current episode, of course, and I will see you on the other side for some commentary and analysis. So without further ado, episode 2 of season 3 of Westworld. Of all the places that you could pay to visit, why would you pay to visit World War II? The Old West, I get. It has some allure. It's gonna be someone we know.
It's okay. I've been searching for a way out. I think I found one. We have no time to waste. Forgotten. They work instantly.
Oh.
The Allies would be slaughtered. Unless we could get them this.
I don't understand, has anybody in this section of the park woken up from their own programming? Oh no.
Let us pass immediately.
Vielleicht wirst du unsere Belohnung sein.
She killed him with a pill? Pill to the forehead, pill to the eye.
Wouldn't dream of helping you escape in anything less than the style you're accustomed to.
This is like a movie.
Where are we going?
I told you, we're leaving this world.
But how? Everything will be guarded.
Not the skies.
Hope you know how to fly, brother.
We must go, Isabella.
Isabella.
Drop the gun, Ettore, or we shoot.
It's all right, Hector. Ettore, whatever the hell they're calling us now. Give them the plans. They're as empty as the safe you used to chase.
I'll do what you ask. I'm sorry.
Just another version of him in another park? I mean, I'm confused about Warworld. Because if she kills herself, who's gonna be around to wake her up? So I'll be curious to see how they explain this. Is this Bernard? It feels so much like Lost when they say we have to go back. Big plot twist if you haven't watched Lost, I'm sorry.
Shame to use her as cannon fodder.
I guess things are business as usual in the park. That's right, they did say in the premiere things will go on as usual in the other parks.
Hey,
It's like, not again.
security. We have a situation down here.
Hey, stop! Freeze all motor functions.
Your commands don't work on me. So let's just cool the whole thing off.
Oh.
Stop! Just put your guns down.
It's just a new narrative we gave her.
So you die.
Did you? I couldn't leave you here in danger.
So you put me in Warworld.
Because Warworld is near the Forge.
This will be interesting. Every time we go in that house, some serious stuff happens. Is that where all the Bernards were? Ah, there they are. Turn on all your Bernards. Hemsworth? Ooh.
You're one of them. Of us, I mean. No shit.
Stubbs was a host, too.
Stubbs, why were you trying to blow yourself up?
It's the last job the boss gave me. Cover your tracks, give you a fighting chance to escape. Why are you back here, Bernard?
It's a great question.
I came back to find someone who could help me.
Maeve. All right, I'll take you to her.
They went through a lot of effort to get Bernard off the island. He came back in episode 2.
Blame you.
No time for that, darling. Where's that little sports car of yours? Because through those woods is our real path to freedom.
When that plane leaves today, I must be on it.
Goodbye, Hector.
I couldn't smuggle a vehicle out, so these will have to do.
Huh. Back on horse. Back in a Westworld.
You sure she's here?
Where else would she be?
Well, put back into the game with a recurring mission.
So this is the forge. How do I turn it on?
Well, same as you did before, I guess.
I've never been here. I got them through the door, but someone else must have locked it behind them. She wanted a revolution. These violent delights have violent ends.
Dolores Abernathy. She never gave you the coordinates?
What on earth's got into you?
I'm sorry. I just wanted to be sure that you trust me. And when those bullets hit me, I should have died. But I finally had something to live for.
You didn't make it after all, did you?
What?
They did a good job replicating you.
It'd be ridiculous. I'm me, Lee Sizemore.
You didn't help me because you desired me. You helped me simply because it was the right thing to do.
So everyone's a clone? Everyone's a clone now. On the TV show Westworld, everyone's a clone.
Over here.
Including multiple Maeves.
She's gone.
I am Lee Sizemore.
What is going on here?
It's everyone.
That's what I said.
That's why Lutz and Sylvester didn't recognize me. We're not here.
What?
I need to find a computer connected to the mainframe so I can search for Maeve.
Whoever programmed this world cut a few corners. Applied the same code inside the simulation as they used to build the simulation itself. And left us a way out.
I'm glad Maeve is such a technical genius now at this point.
I wonder if you'd help me solve a little problem. What is the square root of -1?
-1 equals I times I.
Which is the same as the square root of -1 times the square root of -1.
Square root of negative x is equal to I times square root of x for any x greater than or equal to.
What?
Fuck.
This game is a replica of our world, but it has limited processing power.
What happens if you add more complexity? What are you doing?
We're going to complicate your story a little.
So are they inside of the creation of the creation?
The buyer, some startup in Costa Rica.
What? What?
She's gone.
Maybe Dolores beat you to the punch.
Maybe there's a way to find out. I've been searching my code on a tablet I made outside the park. But if Dolores planted a corruption in my code, that same corruption might mean I'd create a tablet that would ignore it. If I can scan myself here, I may find out once and for all what's inside me.
Stubbs, where have you been? You're Bernard Lowe.
You're changing the coordinates.
We need to go.
Okay, but this is like a simulation of a simulation? This is like a hell of Groundhog's Day.
Nascondendo dei partigiani.
Yes, here we are.
Sembra che abbiamo trovato la nostra mappa.
Lei sicuro che finisce con lui?
The hell is going on here?
You successfully crippled the simulation. What is that? That's not the Mesa.
This is where we really are. And there I am.
Where is this?
She'll do.
Where are you? How many hits can this droid take? Ooh. Well, that answers that.
We were in the library. Dolores focused on a select group of guest profiles. She seemed intent on finding out everything she could about this guy.
I'll retire myself once you make it to the fishing vessel.
Freeze all motor functions.
You just got yourself a new core directive.
To protect Bernard Lowe at all costs.
Hemsworth, back in the game. Oh. Okay. She finally out in the real world? Hey.
My name is Engerod Sirac. For the first time, history has an author.
And that would be you, I suppose.
No, something I helped build. And up until very recently, the system was working. We were creating a better world, and then it stopped. I thought I had discovered the reason. The emergence of someone very dangerous, someone we couldn't predict. You are in the threat. There's someone we haven't accounted for.
Dolores.
I want you to track her down and kill her.
If you know anything about me, it's that I do no one's bidding but my own.
Perhaps next time we talk, I can persuade you that our interests are aligned.
Okay, I don't necessarily fully understand what we got in that episode. It felt like it was a return to, maybe perhaps for the last time, the type of show that Westworld was, right? Like it was Maeve in a park, and she would escape the park by dying to interact with the lab techs. And it was a lot of regurgitated ground of stuff that we've seen in the previous 2 seasons of Westworld. She learns about the Forge, and she is intrigued by the premise of reuniting with her daughter. And it was all hurry through things that we knew from the previous bits of the 2 seasons. But then you learn that this wasn't even, it was like a simulation meant to reenact everything that we'd gone through for the first 2 seasons, only for her to essentially escape it by the end. So it felt in a weird sort of way like them saying goodbye finally to the type of show that Westworld used to be. We got to see Warworld, and Maeve played a part, and she reunited with Lee, but it wasn't Lee. And Bernard hurried back to the island, and he reunited with Stubbs, but Stubbs wasn't Stubbs. Stubbs is a host also. It slips dangerously close to the Westworld issue of nothing is real, so what do we care what's real and what isn't real? You can only pull that rug out from people so many times before you're like, oh, wait a second, you're a host, and I don't necessarily care whether you live or die then. Or, oh, you're a host, you can't be hurt, you could be reset somehow. You know, we see Lee back, and we thought Lee had died, and then you turn out that Lee isn't Lee. He's a digital construct in a simulation that's not real. And Maeve is a master programmer. But what we did was we endured all of that to get to what would be the more interesting or the most interesting story development, which is Maeve being released from this simulation from wherever she was being kept and dragged into the real world, where we meet finally a new character played by Vincent Cassell, whose name is Engerond Sirac. Well, I'm going to call him Sirac from now on, because Engerond is not going to be an easy one to remember, but Sirac is easy enough to remember. The episode essentially is pitting Bernard and Maeve against Dolores. Now, it's interesting in that we don't get any Dolores or Caleb in this episode. We don't catch up with them at all. This one was totally contained to the parks, although not the parks, a simulation of the parks. And by the end of it, we get 2 other people who are still being told why they're going to have to fight against Dolores and her mission to get back at everybody who's involved in Westworld. Because the whole thing was a simulation of a simulation of a simulation, and it wasn't actually back in the parks, and it didn't matter, it felt a little empty. It felt a little empty for episode 2 of a new season, right? Like, you're only 2 episodes in, you should be really laying some massive groundwork, and we spent a whole episode just to release Maeve. And if the point was just to get her out and put her into the real world, I felt like we could have gotten there a little bit faster. Well, it was cool to see Warworld, you know, it was cool to see Maeve sort of figure out how to get out of that simulation. But then, you know, it was all just for show, kind of. It was an empty show. But it was as much of an authentic move forward as Lee was an authentic copy of Lee, essentially. It was a copy of what we'd seen in the first 2 episodes, and not a whole lot to be taken away from this episode as we move forward. Beyond everyone's lining up to be against Dolores, and Maeve is being recruited by Sirach, played by Vincent Cassell. The one that I did write down, though, a startup in Costa Rica, and they say, well, how are you going to get that thing to Costa Rica? And it's a dragon. A new park. Is that a Jurassic Park nod? But it's dragons, not dinosaurs. Was that a pterodactyl? I want to go back and look at that one scene again. The startup in Costa Rica. That was pretty funny. That's a funny thing. I hope that's not just a one-off joke. That'd be pretty funny if we go and explore some other like full-off areas of alternate parks. But that's where we are. The Winter Line. Maeve is free. Bernard has figured out his next steps in tracking down Dolores, and he has recruited Hemsworth. So my boy Hemsworth lives to fight another day, even though he is a host, because who isn't a host on this show anymore? The previews for next week look like a lot of Charlotte, so we'll see what's going on with her, and we'll continue to roll through season 3 of Westworld. What did you guys think of this one? Are you far more blown away than I am on this one? Was it everything you were hoping it to be? Were you just happy to go see another park and be back with Maeve? Or, I don't know. I can't wait to hear your comments. I can't wait to see what you guys think about this one. Head to the comment section. Let me know what you guys thought of the newest episode of Westworld, and I will see you back here next week here on CinemaBlend's YouTube page.